Hello everyone, this is Ian Schaefer here with UDA Technologies, and we are just about ready to dive into today's webinar covering some of the great new features available through the ConstructionOnline mobile app, the unified app. Today we're actually looking at a brand new account on a brand new device. We have an iPad here that we're going to be casting onto the screen, and we're looking at the calendar view for it right now. And as we go through this today, we're going to be fielding questions about some of the mobile app features and talking about some of the great new options available in the app and viewing some of the features that we've also just recently brought into the app. Things like the estimate views, and we're going to look at some of the signature lines and some of the new calendar views and things like that as well. I actually have my colleague Jordan Davis here again. He's one of our top consultants for the UDA family of applications, and he's actually going to be driving today since he's more of an iPad guy or an Apple guy than I am. Jordan, why don't you say hi and tell him about what you're hoping to go over or touch on today.
Sure, thanks for the introduction, Ian. I'm really excited to show off our iPad customized app. Those of you who have used the mobile app before will probably recognize the left side panel here. It's very familiar to those of us that use the phone versions. The exciting thing about the iPad or other tablets, iPads in particular for now, is that with the greater screen real estate, we can do some really interesting things in the app, like being able to quickly jump between different parts of the app or to let you focus in. So I'm really excited to show off a bit of the iPad app now that it's in a really great space. And I'm really excited to show off some of the new features that we've added. Some of you might not even recognize that they've been added because it's been there for a little while, but I'm so pumped. I'm really excited to show you guys some of the new estimating views that we have now and really to dive right in.
Yeah, absolutely. And today we're actually using another application here to cast onto the screen, obviously. This is my Windows computer that we're using for the webinar, and we are recording this webinar, so it should be available for you guys on YouTube when we finish. But just in case you guys are interested, or if you guys are ever looking to do something like we're doing today, reach out to us. Let us know. We can share some of the tools that we use for, I guess, tools of the trade that we're using for this broadcasting scenario today. And again, we're going to be fielding questions, and hopefully my colleague Sydney will be joining us as well. She may actually already be in, and I think she is. Sydney Dorsey is going to be handling questions as well. A lot of you guys will probably know her as one of the, she's the head of the ConstructionOnline loyalty program. She helps us get everybody started with ConstructionOnline, and she organizes her team of onboarding specialists or startup specialists to make sure that all of you guys are able to do things like we're going to be talking about today in record time. So of course she's going to be answering questions, and if you guys have questions, we'd like you to take a look at the GoToWebinar panel. On that panel you should see an area marked questions. Open that up if you guys have anything, and you guys should be able to submit questions or kind of help steer the webinar today a little bit as we go, and we'll be getting started in just a moment. Now along those lines too, in addition to sending your questions, we're going to be kind of going back and forth between the mobile app, which you can see here, and the website itself. We're going to be going into ConstructionOnline. Here we are. And we're going to be just doing a little bit of comparisons back and forth between ConstructionOnline and the mobile app. Along those lines, if you guys are interested, I highly recommend you take your devices out, your mobile devices, and kind of follow along with some of the things that we're working on. Again, keep an eye on some of the features that we're talking about today, because some of these may be brand new. And of course, we're working on an iPad, so if you guys are Android users, like I am, you guys may have some additional features or functions or just different placements for things, or basically it might be just a little different. Yeah. Keep an eye on it though, so and just ask the questions if you guys notice anything cropping up that's a little different. Now the huge perk to going over the mobile app is now with ConstructionOnline being in use by probably about, what are we at, 500,000 users or a little over? Mm-hmm. I know we talk about it all the time, but because ConstructionOnline is so heavily used, and because this mobile app provides access to all of your features and functions available for all of your company users, you guys will be able to dive into and see a lot of this content and what we're working on from anywhere that you guys have a data connection. As long as you have a connection, you'll be able to get into and work with all of these. This also means that this summer, as you guys are doing any of your summer travels or holidays or anything like that, if you guys have a chance to go on vacation, it doesn't matter where in the world you go. As long as you have that connection, you have access. which means that you can track progress on everything, regardless of what it is that you guys want to see. And you'll see this as we're looking through today, of course, starting with our calendar. Now, from the calendar in Construction Online, a lot of you guys are probably familiar with the Construction Online calendar itself. We typically display things in a month view to begin with, and you've got week views and day views and year views, a list view, a wide variety of different options. But on a mobile device, the month view or the calendar view like that makes it a little difficult. So we've developed a different style of viewing. Some of you guys using some of the other online calendar apps will probably be able to recognize what we're looking at here. But Jordan, if you would scroll up to May for me, if you don't mind,
Sure.
just to give them an idea of how navigation through this calendar works now. So as you guys can see, as we're moving through the calendar itself, we separate out, instead of having a standard month view, we give you an infinitely scrolling calendar. And I'm using air quotes as if you guys could see that. What that means is when you open the calendar view, it takes you to today's date. If you guys need to see where we were like a week or two ago, you can scroll in one direction to go backward in time. Now we're scrolling the other direction to go forward in time and see what we're forecasting moving forward. Almost all of this information is actually currently filtered down by a job. We're doing everything in Hyatt Plaza here. You guys can see that we're looking at that Hyatt Plaza project. And so all of these tasks actually exist within the schedule or the calendar on Construction Online for this specific project. Now again, as you guys are looking through these various different features, you guys will be able to skip into the Construction Online schedule from the website itself. And the content that we see on that Construction Online, on the Construction Online calendar is going to be the same. It's the same information, a different style of display. And here I'll just pull that over so that you guys can take a look at them. So here again is the Construction Online calendar. We've got some holidays in here as well and some change order due dates and the like. But ultimately, this is June. Here's all the tasks. In the mobile app view, again, we have all the same tasks, but we have it just kind of flowing down through the month of June into July, August, and so on. The Hyatt Plaza project that we're looking at today is actually I think it's a $7 million job. Obviously, Hyatt Plaza, it's a hotel project that we're building in this case, so the schedule itself is also very, very large, very long, and so this one goes well into 2019, I'm fairly sure, even though it starts in May. And if we were to scroll on, you can actually see all that time. Now, I don't want to do that too far. We don't want to take you too far through the calendar because, again, we're casting the screen and it might get a little jumpy. But now that we're on here, if you did need to see any of the detail, go ahead and open one of these up, Jordan, if you don't mind. You can tap on an activity and you can actually go into and make some of these adjustments right here on the calendar for any of the tasks or the meetings or appointments or anything that we have. So you've got the ability to go through and work with all of this additional information. And again, it all just kind of flows right back into Construction Online or forward into the app, and it passes out to everybody who's going to be working on it. Again, if you're sitting by the pool drinking Mai Tais, or you're out on the beach, or maybe you're a camper, and you guys are out in the middle of the wilderness, as long as you're not so far out that you've completely detached yourself from technology, as long as you've got that the data connection still, at least 3G, I think you'll be able to pull up all of this, track progress, and see how everybody's doing. Now, along those lines, too, I think we were talking about one of the additional features here. Go ahead and close that task down for me if you don't mind. We were also taking a look at, GamePlan, and how some of this information feeds into it as well. Now, of course, with Construction Online, each of you guys will have your own game plans or the capabilities to set up game plans for subcontractors, vendors, suppliers, or anything like this. If you're taking a look at the game plans, of course, all of those game plans are going to be configured on Construction Online, or you can create new ones here. And for the ones that you're looking at that were already in existence, go ahead and open up your game plan for me there.
Sure. Yeah, I'm actually going to jump back and view it. That's a much better view.
Perfect. And when you are viewing the game plan, again, it breaks it down by project, and then it breaks it down by task type. So when you're looking at these, you can actually see how many scheduled tasks we have within the current game plan that we need to work on, if we have any meetings coming up, or to-dos, or punch list items, or anything like that. When you open them up, just like before, Game Plan gives you the ability to go into and make some adjustments to these tasks. You could check them off, you can open them up and add some notes, you could do whatever you need to, and it's all pulling, again, all of this information coming together, both from Construction Online and from the mobile app, to give you one complete game plan for everything that you guys need to pay attention to. Now, I find that this is one of those clutch features for a lot of our team members who are going to be going out to the job site. Anybody that we have in the company who's working on the job, who needs to hyper-focus on a specific set of tasks, you have the ability, especially here with the iPad, to focus in on your game plan. And once again, you can full screen the game plan portion. So this is all we have to see. Again, your guys that are out working on the job site, they need their task list. They pull up their task list here. The game plan shows them everything to focus on, and then they can go back into and start posting notes and things like that as well. So again, we've got the calendar, which gives us everything. It's great for forecasting. Game plan, which is going to show us our current task list and help us kind of focus in on what needs to get done today, right now. And for a lot of the additional content creation, don't forget, between ConstructionOnline and the ConstructionOnline mobile app, you guys have the additional options for going into and creating new tasks through the to-dos menu. You can also go into the punch list feature to add in additional, more structured lists of tasks. And with those, we're not going to do any of the pictures right now, but punch lists are an especially effective tool through the mobile app as well, because your guys, as you're doing the inspection, or you yourself, as you're doing a walkthrough with a customer, you'll have the ability to build these punch lists as you're doing the inspections, taking pictures as you go. And if you guys are interested, most of these mobile devices have a voice-to-text option, which is exceptional for picking up everything that you're working on. So again, if you're walking with the customer, you don't have to pause to type. You can simply push the button to add a punch list item, click into the field to add in the notes or the title, and as you walk with your customer, you can describe what needs work, attach a picture directly through the app, and continue on from there. Don't forget, if you are doing this, to assign the tasks out to the people who are going to be working on them, because again, that game plan feature, the one that we're looking at now, the game plan feature relies heavily on getting this information assigned so that we can pull that for the game plans for the people who have to actually work on it. So again, we have a lot of these features available to you here, and as you're putting the information together, again, all of the information shows up in game plans. It's going to be reportable, and special feature on this case, since this is a new account, there's not too much detail for it right now, but you'll be able to click into the news feed to see tasks being completed as well, or created in this case. We've put together a few change orders because we're going to be looking at these details here in just a few moments. But again, as we build more and more information into these projects, the news feed is going to show us what's being done, who's doing the work, and how much progress we're making as we go. So great features here to be able to track not only what's coming up with calendars, but also what we need to do today with game plan and what's being done throughout the jobs with newsfeed. All of these available through Construction Online and through the mobile app on both iPhone, well, and Android, I was going to say, but iPhone, iPad, Android phones and tablets, and a wide variety of other devices as well. Now, along those lines, most of this is task-driven. Now, we also have released the view options for your budgets or estimates that you guys have created for Construction Online. As we navigate into that, I think you did that directly from the newsfeed, did you not?
You can. I just tapped on the estimating view
Okay.
there, though. I'm actually going to zoom into it a bit so we get a little bit more of a kind of a more richer view.
Yeah. Well,
what's
real
going on
quick,
here.
zoom out for us one more time. I want to make sure that everybody's able to see this estimating option here. So when you're looking at the mobile app, the estimating button is now available to you here. Previously, it was in a coming soon state. So make sure that you guys double check and make sure that you have the latest version of the mobile app as well, so that you have the option to go into and take a look at these estimates. As you are looking through the estimates themselves, though, keep in mind that the only people who can see the estimates are going to be people that you have allowed to do so. Now, these are all company users that we're expecting to be using this Construction Online app, the unified app. So all of our company users are going to be able to get into and see the project. Once again, you select your project down here at the bottom, but they'll see the project, and if they're allowed to see the estimate, then they'll be able to see it using the estimating feature here. Click into it and go full screen again for me if you don't mind, Jordan.
Sure.
Thank you, sir. And again, as we're looking, this is a view tool, a viewing tool. So you'll notice that it does actually mention up here at the top that this is view only mode. additional adjustments and notes and things like that are going to be coming soon. Or from the iPad, it's really easy to open up Safari and go into and start making some adjustments. But our expectation is that you guys will use this to keep track of where we are on the job and to see those changes or the costs or the updates that are being made on the job site or through the accounting department if you guys are updating your budgets, or when you're making some contract adjustments into things here as well. As you're working through this, you'll be able to see, again, some of the information for our totals. Actually, I'm going to hand it off to you for a moment. I'm going to pull up our estimate on ConstructionOnline, the website itself, so that we can once again do a quick little comparison, because there's a few key points that I want you guys to be able to see. Why don't you, for a moment, why don't you tell them about some of the other kind of great overview options that you have available here in the ConstructionOnline app, as I'm pulling up our estimate to make sure we have
Yeah, absolutely. You can see right off the bat that you can get a really quick price breakdown per category simply by expanding this menu here. Each of these category sections will let you jump if I were to tap. I don't want to do that though at this point. Something else that I do want to point out before we go back to the ConstructionOnline page, and I think that you were probably hinting at this somewhat, Ian. If you look up in the top right of the app, you'll see, looks like 3 little columns here. It's a tiny menu. Thanks for the call out there. If you actually tap on this, it's very interesting. You can use this to switch between different views for your estimate to highlight and pull out different information. You can kind of tell not too much change from this side, but if we were to actually drill down into parts of the estimate here, the information that was presented to you is going to adapt based on whether you were looking at how far into your budget you'd spent versus looking at perhaps how much has been invoiced up to this point. Now, this is a brand new project that we've got set up here, so a lot of those numbers haven't really been put in yet, but as you were working through, you can see how effective this would be to pull up and see where you were on the job site and make sure that you weren't going to go over budget. I know that from where we were on the schedule, we were looking at the foundation section here. It's nice to have both your estimate and your schedule aligned, and it's really interesting to be able to look at both of those from the same place, all in the palm of your hands.
Yeah, absolutely. And along those lines too, the views are a good thing to point out here, because as we're looking through the estimate or the budget, depending on which view we have selected, you may remember, most of you guys looking at this, that the ConstructionOnline estimating feature contains a lot of detail, a lot of depth. If we go full screen on this, even now we have additional fields that are available to us that we're not going to be able to view even with the size of the screen that we have. So there's a fair amount of scrolling, and scroll bars are popping up in a few different areas for you to be able to navigate through. And we try to make the information as digestible as possible through the mobile views, which when we shift back to it now, this is a primary reason why we've provided some of these tools like pricing by category to give you the ability to expand that out and just get the rough overview. Or when you kind of focus in on the various different sections just by clicking the little buttons over here, it allows you to drill into and see in greater detail some of the specifics on individual lines. We've set it up so that it's extremely easy to navigate into regardless of the size of your device. So again, if you're using something like a Google Pixel or an iPhone, even with the smaller screens as compared to the iPad that we're using right now today, this is all still the perfect amount of information to fit on the size of the screen that you're using. Again, from there, you can always use the back options to get back to an overview for your categories or your subcategories, or most of them will also include a menu option to take you back to the feature set, just in case you've drilled in really far and you're comfortable with everything that you're seeing so far. Now, the other wonderful part to this as well, regardless of where you happen to be using the app to view your estimate information, you will always be able to see updates in real time as it goes through and refreshes some of the detail from the estimate. As we start paying the bills or as we start collecting income, maybe our accounting department has just received payment back from our first application for payment perhaps, or something like that, you'll be able to expand these sections and see the updated information for the job costing or the budgeting views as you get into more and more detail for these things. So again, as those costs start to roll in, or as the money starts to roll in, you'll be able to see these updates in real time. So keep in mind that you will be able to catch all of that as well. Now, on that side, too, from the estimates, there's going to be some additional information here, of course, that we're going to be working through. Estimates by themselves provide a wonderful amount of detail for us to make sure that we're hitting our target numbers and making money where we need to be making money. Part of what I find to be the biggest drags on some of the jobs that we work on, though, are things like selections or change orders, which are also going to be impacting not only the financials that we're looking at here, but also some of our deadlines and our due dates. Now, let's see really quickly on the Construction Online website if we have some selections on this job. I don't remember if we put any of those together yet. We might have one. Would you mind opening up the selections for us? Yeah, this was one of the the allowances or the budget amounts that we put together. We weren't exactly sure which group we were going to use, so we just put this together as an example. But if you expand into this particular selection, you'll still be able to do the same thing. You can go through and review some of the detail or the depth that we've put together for any of the selections that are available here in the system. And you can also do some of the same work here, expanding out or building out some of the selection options and putting in some additional notes or assigning due dates as well as need be. So as we go through and kind of build out this information, this is, again, an excellent tool to hand off to maybe one of your interior designers, or for those of you who partner with vendors to do things like selections or walkthroughs. You can hand off your customer to the vendor who's going to be doing the selection process. Allow them access to build out the selection set, and then if they're going through and they're walking a showroom, for example, with your customer, they can post some notes about the selection choices, take a couple of pictures, attach it all right in here to the selection set, and still attach due dates as they apply. Those due dates once again carry back to the infinitely scrolling schedule or the calendar that we were looking at earlier, but you can see those due dates starting to pop up as well. They'll notify you, they'll notify your team, and most importantly, they'll notify your customers to make sure that they're getting those selections done in time. So again, you have the ability to build out that selection set here using the Construction Online mobile app, and I see this providing the biggest benefit for most of you who do end up choosing selections on the go. We've got a lot of clients that actually do have showrooms or work with vendors who have showrooms, and this is a great way to just walk and talk. It's a wonderful little tool to kind of put together some of the best choices, and I love that you can just once again use that voice to text option to put in some notes about how impressed maybe the customer was with this particular type of bathroom fixture or shower head that we were looking at the Kohler stand at IBS, maybe at the International Builder Show. Yeah, absolutely. You can do all of this stuff, and you can kind of build out this information and really expand the possibilities for how you guys create content using the Construction Online mobile app. Now, to add to that as well, change orders are a thing that's going to show up. And if you're controlling your client well, those change orders are going to be communicated to you or your team, depending on who's responsible, in most cases via direct conversation, and in a lot of times it's going to be on the job site or in visits between you and the customer. You guys are going to be looking at something, or you're going to be talking about something. In this case, we're still looking at the Hyatt Plaza project. You can see this information down here, still on Hyatt Plaza. And in the Hyatt Plaza project, maybe the hotel owners have decided that they like guest suites up on some of the top floors need to have better showers, perhaps. They just wanted to provide that nice little touch. And so when they talk to you, they reach out to you and they say, we were thinking about it, and we don't want to use the same standard shower heads everywhere. So we want to go ahead and upgrade those shower heads for all of the suites. Let's say there's, 10 suites I think we had this one set up on. So from here, you can actually go into and take a look at the change order portion as well. When you enter into the change order, you can see that each upgrade is going to cost about $23.50. We've got 10 of them, and if you scroll down a little bit further, in our case, we can also see that we've got an $850 markup per unit in this case. So as you go through and you work with each of these individual items, you'll be able to see the additional detail, and you can go into and see the client price, what they're going to be paying per unit or for this change order. All of that information is going to be available to you here. Now, when you're talking to the customer about it, you can also pull it up in the mobile app itself, and as you're putting it together, can you step back to the view that we'll see as we're looking at it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So from the overall view, you'll notice that it gives the client price. It tells us here how much the customer would need to pay for this change order. So again, if you're on the site and you're talking to your customer, or you guys happen to meet up for coffee someplace, and you want to get the go-ahead for this change order because, let's say the due date is coming up, you have the option to approve right here in the app. And all you have to do is open it up and click the approved option up top. And if you're sitting with your customer, you have the option here to get their signature on this particular change order as well. That might be your signature. Now, if you're going to do this, of course, Jordan is signing right now with his finger. If you have a stylus or anything like that, it works perfectly as well. So go ahead and keep that. And then from there, you can just submit. And now the change order is approved, and you have a customer signature to go along with that. This means that later, when you're coming back into and you're looking at your ConstructionOnline estimate, and you're taking a look at all the detail that you have available, the change orders, once we refresh the list here, are going to be reflecting that approval. And if we generate any contracts for the change orders at this point, that contract is also going to include the customer signature as well. That customer signature is being captured here on the mobile app. And again, we've got a timestamp, a date stamp, we've got the customer signature. It's all coming together, and it's all based on this the accessibility of having this information available to you. Once again, as you said, Jordan, in the palm of your hand. All of this is going to be available through the mobile app, and the ConstructionOnline mobile app, let's get this web page out of the way for a moment. The ConstructionOnline mobile app gives you the ability to not only approve and get signatures for these change orders that we're working with here, you also have the ability as you're working through to make some additional adjustments. As Jordan is doing here, you have the ability to create new change orders. You can put together some of the detail for them here, add in, once again, maybe pictures, or put in some notes for anything that we have to work on. The beauty of this, too, is if we are, once again, talking to the customer, but we don't know the exact price for the change order that we want to create, you can go into and create the change order and put in a change order description here, maybe even linking to the web page that your customer got the idea from. And then we can go back to the office or send a message back, or again, maybe create some to-dos or activities to go in and fill in the details for the change order once we can confirm that we're able to order whatever it is that they're looking for at a price point that makes sense for us as a company. Obviously, if it's like a 2-hour flash sale on Amazon, maybe we say no. That might not be the best idea. But again, as we're looking through this, we have the option or the opportunity to go in and put in some core details for the change order and then kind of build that information out once we have time. Once again, as you look through, I think we have the option to add in not only a change order description here, but some additional notes perhaps. You can add in the notes here. You can add in images of the items. You can also attach additional documents, which could be PDFs or outlines or spec sheets or anything. Anything you like, you'll be able to attach them here. This information can be pulled from elsewhere on your phone as well, or you can send it to our app to make that attachment here. So as you're going through and you're including files, don't forget you can pull them in here or from the main website. And then you can select the create option from here. Now it looks like we do have actually, it's a pretty large list of questions so far. It looks like Sydney's doing an excellent job of keeping on top of them, so thanks again for that, Sydney. Some of these do look like they may be company specific. Just as a quick reminder, this is the ConstructionOnline mobile app. For those of you who are interested in going to find it, the logo that you're looking for is here. When you go to the App Store to download the app, you want to search for ConstructionOnline, one word. So go to the App Store, search for ConstructionOnline, and you'll find one of the apps that has an icon that looks like this. The CO represents ConstructionOnline, and this is our all-in-one app. When you first log in, it's going to ask you for your standard ConstructionOnline credentials. It's the same thing that you use to log into the website. And once you get into the app itself, it's going to take a moment to load up all your projects, all your content. Your calendar will load, your files will load, your selections, your conversations, everything. It all loads up for you available here. It's also going to start to pull in some additional options for, once again, for those of you who are using ConstructionOnline, the main website, you'll know that there's a messaging feature that you can use. This is going to carry all of the conversations that you've created. But something that's currently unique to the ConstructionOnline mobile app is the Quick Chat feature, which down here on the bottom left, this is effectively text messaging built into the mobile app. And this one's important too, because as you're working with customers or your team, once again, you might be poolside. You might not plan on being back to the job for 4 or 5 days, but you've got some things that you've got to deal with, and there's never any time to wait. So when those questions start coming in, you'll either be able to call from the device. If you actually go to the contacts listing, there's some options to call if it's a phone, and they have that available. Or, again, on the text messaging side, pull open Quick Chat. Start a new chat, start the conversation from there, and you'll be able to pick anybody that you have on the device. I don't think we have any additional contacts here. Again, yeah, just you could talk to yourself in this case, I suppose. But as you're working through this, it does have the option to pull additional contacts from the device too. So keep in mind that if you do have a lot of contacts on your device, on your phone, you'll be able to use this to pull those contacts into the app. And then from there, you guys will be able to do some additional work, sending out those text messages. You can open up the conversations using the messaging feature and use that to kind of track an email chain. And as you're setting up new appointments, all of that goes onto the calendar again as normal. Mm-hmm. And it all becomes available to you there. Now let's see. Jordan, have we missed anything? Is there anything else that you're particularly impressed by in that app?
I think, honestly, that for today, we've given everyone as much as they might be able to take in. I'm excited to see some questions coming our way at this point, if that makes sense for you, Ian.
Yeah, absolutely. We will take a look. One thing that I would mention, though, before we go, because I've been looking through the questions, or trying to look through the questions as well as we go. There's a few here that we will absolutely touch on, but there's there's about 6 that all pertain to the feature in the top left corner, this red line. Redline Plan Room is one of our favorite features, available through the Construction Online website and through the Construction Online mobile app. In this case, guys, we're going to hold off on talking about Redline too terribly much, because we're actually going to be doing a special focus webinar specifically for it's going to cover Redline exclusively, and we're going to be doing this in 2 weeks. So not next week. Next week we're actually going to be doing on-cost estimating through AWS. We're going to be talking about updating or creating estimates in the cloud, and this is going to be all about heightened efficiency in building these estimates. So we're going to be talking about a lot of the features and the functions, both in ConstructionSuite, or things that you'll be able to take a look at on Construction Online, to make you estimate faster when you don't have a keyboard. We're talking about things that will allow you to do it from a tablet or from a Surface or anything else, anywhere that you happen to be. We'll be talking about those kind of features. So again, think cost books maybe, custom cost books or dimension sets, or just speed enhancements. Now, the Redline feature itself, again, 2 weeks from today, we're going to be covering Redline specifically, and we'll be taking a look again at Construction Online, the website, and Construction Online, the mobile app, and we'll be talking about how Redline ties all of these features together directly on a set of plans. Now, the idea here is, with Construction Online, you've got a project, and in that project you've got to-dos, and you've got change orders and punch lists, and maybe RFIs and submittals, and all these different things. On Redline, you're looking at an actual copy of the plans for the project, with everything pinned to that set of plans, with any traces or markups or notes or comments or file attachments. All of that is going to be part of Redline, and again, 2 weeks from today we'll be covering that specifically in our I think it's the 4th webinar in the series, and it is just Redline Plan Room. We'll super focus on that to answer all of those questions as well. Now, at this point, we're going to pause for a couple of minutes and kind of review some of the questions that we have available here to see if we can find any that Sydney would like us to kind of show off specifically in here. I know, for example, some of you guys were talking about adding pictures. I don't know if the camera is actually set up in here. I suppose it is. But you've got the camera option, just in case you would like to take pictures. It gives you the location to put the pictures. You're clicking faster than I am.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. But you've got the location to put the pictures there, and then once you're here ready to take the picture, all you have to do is just add it in and go from there. Otherwise, again, there's the job. You can click on that to add subfolders if you need to. This is where you can add in those folders. Just hit the little plus button up there. It gives you new folders or new albums. Again, keep in mind that the major difference between them is albums are viewable in the gallery on Construction Online. Folders are for files as well. So that's your big difference there. But if you go back, down here, this is where you can just click the button to take pictures. Again, you don't have to take pictures in here, or you can.
Hey, the camera, I'm showing it off. It works.
Yeah, that's
We're not
fine.
hiding it, I promise.
You can pull it around, and you can look at some other things too, like if you want to take a picture of the board perhaps or something like that.
Sure.
But again, all of this information... Oh, you're kind of sideways.
Oh yeah, I see that. I don't want to tilt the camera.
Well, as you're looking through, as you guys can see, you have the option to go in and take photos or videos or whatever you guys need to do that, and it'll be available in your project, in the albums, or anything like that as well. So you have those options available for you here. And again, for any additional questions, guys, we're going to be going through and reviewing those questions now. Hopefully Sydney has been able to cover most of these things, but I know that she has a few flagged for us to take a look at. In the meantime, guys, this is going to cover most of what we wanted to share with you today on Construction Online. So I certainly appreciate you guys joining us. We all do. We love to talk about some of these new things. We always want to make sure that you guys have a clear picture of what we're working on, not only now, but what we're going to be releasing here in the near future as well. So keep an eye out on these. Make sure that you guys join us for the webinar series, or for the rest of the webinar series next week and the following week if you guys are interested in any of the cloud hosting estimating or Redline on Construction Online, the Redline Plan Room feature. Otherwise, guys, for those of you who are pretty happy with what you're seeing and can't wait to get your hands on these things, go download the app today if you don't already have it, or just make sure that you're up to date, because as you guys are working with these features, once again, you guys will be able to get all of this information from any smart device, and you guys can get started with this right now, today. So go out there and get it, and if you have questions, don't forget you can always reach us here via phone at 1-800-700-8321 or via email at info@uda1.com. We can't wait to hear from you guys, and for everything else, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Guys, have a great afternoon, and thanks for your time.